Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Shalom and welcome to this week's Torah portion, Lech Lecha, or Get Yourself Out. This week we see a picture of Avram. Avram's been commanded to leave, to get himself out. He's going to travel to the land that God shows him. And he goes. And yet, we see a picture here begin to be painted where Avram doesn't trust God. He goes, but he doesn't trust God to take care of everything. Here we see he tells Sarai, his wife, to tell the people in Egypt that she's his sister and not his wife, because he's afraid for himself that they'll kill him and take her. And of course, if she's their sister, they may just take her. And we see the catastrophe that comes about on the house of Pharaoh, because he realizes that she is Avram's wife. We see a picture. We see Avram lose favor with man, and we see an illustration of some lying going on here, and he's more concerned about himself than he is about even his wife here. And it's the beginning of a parallel theme common to Scripture, prophetic of the need for Messiah Yeshua in our lives, to go from being the old man to the new man. We see Avram being transformed and yet still hanging on to mistrust of Yid He Vav He. Deuteronomy 12 and 8 and 9 and Judges 17:6 speak of this. It is called doing what is right in your own eyes. And it goes to a type and picture of what we see today. And I find it no irony of what today is. Today is the day of Halloween, All Hallows Eve. I'm not going to give a complete history lesson on it. It's a Druidic festival that comes from the Celtic people and is... It's based in pagan idolatry worship, and yet we see many people in the Christian church who believe that they're not under the law, which means that they're not subject to any of God's commandments from the Old Testament, so that they can pretty much do what is right in their own eyes. So let me get this straight. You come to Messiah Yeshua, the King of the universe, the Messiah of Israel, and you're not accountable to anything. I think that's kind of a narrow view, and it really speaks to that group of people's tendency to not study and read their Bible and understand the context and when it was written and who's it written to and why, and us and them theology, anti-Semitism, all these kinds of things come in this picture here. So we see this picture of doing what is right in our own eyes, as opposed to, there's more example of doing what is right in the eyes of the Lord, or before the Lord. And what is right before the Lord? Well, it's God's teaching and instruction. It's the Torah. It's the instructions for life. It's how we should walk. The Hebraic idiom for walking, that is walking on our faith, walking on our redemption. This particular piece of Scripture has in it your descendants, your seed, there's a lot of people who are in belief that Avram believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. So as long as I believe God, I'm righteous, and I don't have to be accountable to anything. Well, that's just not true. If you read the whole portion here, you'll see that Abraham, after his name change, he receives an imputed righteousness. Our faith is our imputed righteousness through Messiah Yeshua. Our faith in Messiah Yeshua is what makes us part of the people of Israel. You see, Abraham is that father. Father Abraham, Avinu Abraham, the father of Israel. We become part of this family through our Messiah, our belief in Messiah Yeshua. Some of the apostolic scripture readings, particularly Galatians 5, deal with this with this issue of Paul's gospel or good news message was not only that Messiah Yeshua is God in the flesh and you believe on him, you'll be saved. It was Messiah Yeshua is God in the flesh and you believe on him and you have a part in the world to come. You are a part of Israel. We're not doing away with the Torah of God. We're doing away with oral traditions of man that are keeping people away from Torah observance. Yeshua talked about it himself. He said to many, you forsake the commandment for the tradition of your fathers, and Galatians talks about being under, if you receive circumcision, speaking of ritual circumcision, which at the time in the apostolic time, in that time in the New Testament, if you will, and those scriptures goes to the ritual circumcision that people to be part of Israel. We instead of teaching them as Gentiles, we'll circumcise them, we'll make them Jews, and then they won't be able to drag us into their pagan ways. Well, no, it's faith in Messiah Yeshua alone. So we see this picture, and today, what do we see? The Christian church, they've done away with the Torah. They believe that we're not under the law, which means, let me get this straight. You're teaching us that Jesus came and fulfilled the Torah so that we wouldn't have to do it? What a bunch of crap. I'm sorry, what a bunch of crap. Lies, 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 lies from the pit of hell, designed by men, designed by the heart of Hasatan himself to steal away the inheritance of the people of Israel, the Israel of God, which includes Gentiles, which is a hard message for a lot of people at the time. So these days, are we doing what's right in our own eyes? Well, I believe in Jesus, but Halloween's a fun time. We're going to have the kids out and da-da-da-da. People have asked me, why do you not celebrate Halloween? It's so much fun, and it's fun for the kids and all this. And I used to, before I understood that what under the law really meant. And, why don't I celebrate it? Because, in my opinion, I don't want to do what's right in my own eyes. I want to do what's right in the eyes of Adonai. And there's a serious doubt about it, and it's a pagan festival, so why would I celebrate it? In my opinion, it's a waste of time, and it's been hyped up by society, and everyone's doing it. Well, a lot of people are doing a lot of things that those in the church would agree are not good either, but we don't do those, but we won't do this. We don't get to pick and choose. We just believe in God and it's credited to us as righteousness. Well, that's true, but that's an imputed righteousness by God through faith, which is God-given anyway. We're accountable for something, and it's God's teaching and instruction. Are we following pagan festivals and messing around and doing what's right in our own eyes, or are we doing what's right in the eyes of God? Well, if your theology conveniently dismisses the Old Testament as a waste of time, well, I think that question answers itself. I would admonish everybody to read the book cover to cover, consistently, more than once or more than twice, and continuously read it, okay? And think about the context in which it was written. So we see this theme being shown all through this portion this week. We see Avram rescues Lot, a type of picture of a kinsman redeemer in Messiah Yeshua, but also God working with the power of man versus the power of himself, the very power of God. Isaac and Ishmael, the type and picture of, the thing that is conceived by the heart of man versus the thing that is conceived by the heart of God. God has shown us what's right in his own eyes. Do we do what's right in his eyes, or do we do what's right in our eyes? Today, God is challenging us, and he's doing it through the Hebraic roots of our Christian faith. Shalom, everyone. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shabbat shalom.